The Gemara is saying that dam en bo me'ilah. There's no me'ilah in dam because we learn from some pasuk, some part of the pasuk. Ki nefesh habasar badam hu, v'ani netativ lachem, either from lachem al mizbech lechaper, or al nafshotechem ki adam hu b'nefesh yechaper. So either from lechaper, either from lachem, either from who. The Rasha from who? Rabbi Yochanan says who lifnei kapara ke lahar kapara. Just like lahar kapara en bo mishum me'ilah, so to lifnei kapara en bo mishum me'ilah. It's a little bit interesting, Bichlal, that we're bringing that to Rasha over here because over here we're talking about emet is emet, but we're talking about dam lahar kapara because we're talking about the shirei adam, which is after the kapara that they poured into the river. And according to Rabbi Yochanan, I don't even need a Rasha for that. That was a davar pashut, that dam en bo me'ilah, after the kapara. And the chidush is that even before the kapara, dam en bo me'ilah. Okay, says Gemara, how do you know if you're comparing dam lahar kapara to lifnei kapara? Who told you to say that lifnei kapara is like lahar kapara and en bo me'ilah? Maybe say the opposite. Say that dam lahar kapara is like lifnei kapara. Ma lifnei kapara yesh bo me'ilah. Af lahar kapara yesh bo me'ilah. Well, I know it makes more sense to say that lahar kapara, lifnei kapara is like lahar kapara, because we have some sort of a principle that kol davar en lecha davar shena'asi mitzvato mu'alim bo. Once you did the mitzvah, there's no more me'ilah. So the Gemara v'lo v'arei terumat hadeshen. Terumat hadeshen, you did the mitzvah. You picked up the deshen with the shovel. You picked it up. You put it next to the mizbeach, and it says v'samo etzel hamizbeach, and we learned the ta'un genizah. V'sachim chav zayin. Alma asur b'hana'ah. You see, it stays asur b'hana'ah. V'kiven de b'hana'ah asur mishum kedushato. Why is it asur b'hana'ah? Because it still has kedusha. Me'ilah nami itpe. It must also have me'ilah.
What is he doing with it? Actually, that's me'ilah.
If you take it and you use it to filter your water with, I don't know. You're making something with it. You're making.
After it's by the mizbeach, he takes it, picks it up.
Yeah.
Smokes an argila.
Tosfot says, the Ritva quotes from Tosfot, Veri Piresh, how do we know that the Kol Davar Shena'asi Mitzvato El Mu'alim Bo? Where does this klal come from? Nafkala me Hataot HaMetot. We learn it from Hataot HaMetot. There's a Derasha in Torah Kohanim she'en Mu'alim Bahem. Kivan she'enam re'uyim le'mitzvah. Hare was a Hatat, it was a Bar Me'ilah. Now that became Hataot HaMetot, since you can't use it for the mitzvah, there's no me'ilah. So too, kol davar shena'asit mitzvato. If they did the mitzvah, and mu'alim bo, because there's no more mitzvah to do. Rashi says, "Who ki adam hu b'nefesh yechaper, hu ki aviyato lefnei kapara, ki lahar kapara, lahar kapara en bo me'ilah dekiven de na'asit mitzvato." Tulo karinam be koche Hashem, because Hashem ki'ilu doesn't have a purpose with it anymore.
You have to use it, chalas.
Kiven shekvar na'asim mitzvato lo karinam be mekoche Hashem v'nachonu.
The opposite also. After
So that's another question. He says, how do you compare lefnei to la'achar? So he said, why do I have to make lefnei like la'achar? Because en lecha davar shena'asim mitzvato mu'alim bo. I'll tell you the opposite. אין לך דבר שלא נעשים מצוות שאין מועלים בו. Hare, both of them have their own rule. Before has, after doesn't. You're gonna change one rule. Who told you to change the before rule? Because after always doesn't. Change the after rule because before always does. And we have a rule. Says Tosfot, no, this shilamim. That it's not fully mikot Hashem because the Baalim has a chelik in it. So she'aika shilamim shelo na'asim mitzvatam ve'enam b'nei me'ilah. Or igla rufa. And yet there's no business. Okay, says the Gemara v'lo. There's nothing that you did the mitzvah mo'alim arei terumat hadeshin like we said from V'samot tzela mizbeach. And yet there's me'ilah. So no, we have shnei ketubim ke'echad. Mishum dahavet terumat hadeshin u'begdei kehuna. Shnei ketubim b'ayin ke'echad. Terumat hadeshin and the begdei kehuna of the Kohen Gadol. When he comes out of the Kodesh Kodashim, it says v'nicham sham. Na'asid mitzvato. And it's asu b'ana'ah. If it's asu b'ana'ah, mu'alim b'ayim. Shnei ketubim b'ayin ke'echad. Of things that's mu'alim b'ayim after na'asim mitzvato. Because shnei ketubim b'ayin ke'echad, em melamdim. Whenever you have two pesukim teaching the same yisod, that they both yesh by me'ilah, means that there's exceptions to the rule. And the rule is em by me'ilah. Hani chala Rabbanan. It's good according to the Chachamim. The Amri v'nicham sham melamed shetunin ginizah. The Chachamim say that when it says ubar on el moed, upashat el begdei ba'da shelavash before el kodesh v'nicham sham teaches me that nicham sham that they asu bana. We learn sham from Megla Rufa. Good. So einachinam, you have two pesukim. You have Terumat Hadeshin v'Samo. You have nicham sham. Both of them is after na'asim mitzvato asu bana mu'alim b'hem. Good. Ela let it be dosa the amar bigdei kiuna ru'yim lekohen ediot. Even though kohen v'nicham sham doesn't teach me that nobody can use him. V'nicham sham teaches me that the Kohen Gadol can't use them next year. But a Kohen Ediot who wears Bigdei Lavan could wear them. So you see, they're not Asu Bana'an, clearly and by Mishum Me'ilah. So now you only have one case of Davar Shena'asim Mitzvato that's Mu'alim Bo. What's that? Terumat Hadeshin. Exactly. You only have Terumat Hadeshin. It's Katuv Echad, let's make a binyan of and let's learn that there is Me'ilah after Na'asim Mitzvato. My ika lemeimar. Look in Rashi. Bigdei kiuna arba'a bigdei kohen bigdei lavan de kohen gadol b'yom kippurim. Techtiv bu v'nicham sham. So you see, it's a subanah. It's good according to Chachamim. According to the Bidusa that says reuyim hen lekohen ediot. V'kaim malam we hold bigdei kiuna by meila mishum shelo netna Torah lamalachei asheret. She used the rizin leposhtan miyad. So we don't say that the Bigdei Kiuna is Kodesh Hashem, and you're only allowed to use it in the service of Hashem. If you don't take it off right away, it's Milah, because clearly the Torah wasn't given to Malachei Hasharet. So therefore, if you're allowed to use them, it's not Milah. Ma'ikal Meimar. So it says, Mishum dahavet Terumat Hadeshin ve'igla rufa shnei ketubim b'ayim ke'echad. Ve'kol shnei ketubim b'ayim ke'echad em melamdim. So you have another case of something that they did the mitzvah and it's a subana and kanere mu'alim, but it's a igla rufa. Rashi, ketiv be sham. Sham te'egnizata ve'arfu sham et ha'egla. So therefore you have Terumat Hadeshin and igla rufa. שני כתובים כאחד, וכל שני כתובים בהם כאחד, אין מלמדים. What?
What's the idea behind the to find somebody, take him to the city?
It's mefarsem, they think they'll find the murderer. Says the sugya over here is going like the opinion that Igla Rufa is asur when it's alive. דאי לא שייך, how can you say נעשים מצוותה ומועלים בו? In order to be na'asim mitzvato and mo'alim bo, sounds like it was asur before. There was an isur of me'ilah before, and now afterwards you would assume that there isn't, but there still is. But if it wasn't asur when it was alive, doesn't na'asim mitzvato? The me'ilah only starts after. So I have two cases of a korban item. Trumat hadeshin is from the korbanot. Egla rufa, it says a kapara like kodashim, and mu'alim bo, even though nasi mitzvato. So since it's shnei ketuvim kechad, those are the exceptions to the rules, and everything else that's nasi mitzvato and mu'alim bo. Therefore, again, the dam after nasi mitzvato and mu'alim bo, and now that I have ekesh, even dam lefnesh nasi mitzvato and mu'alim bo. It says hani chalaman damar en melamdim. It's good according to the opinion that says shnei ketuvim kechad en melamdim. There's an opinion that says Shnei ketuvim b'hem ke'echad is still melamdim, and in order to not be melamed, you need 3 pesukim. Says the Gemara, no. Without that, we have a special thing. Tereh mi'utei ketivi. It says by egla rufa. It says by trumat hadeshin v'samo. Mashma only trumat hadeshin asubana, not other things. By egla rufa, it says ve'arfu sham et ha'egla. The egla is asur, and other things are not. So therefore, each one of these two exceptions to the rule has something that prevents it from learning to other places. Each one has a miut. It doesn't say visamo. This is asur, and other things are not. Ha'arufa, and not other things are asur. So therefore, you can't learn to other things.
But after all, we didn't learn Kohen from Ahufan.
What?
After all, we didn't learn Bigdei Kohen from Ahufan.
Where?
Before, no?
Did we? I don't remember. Says the Gemara, okay. Now, L'ma'aseh, we had 3 opinions about how do we learn that dam is not no me'ilah. You had one opinion that said you learn it from lachem, one that teaches you lechaper, and one from who. So each guy learns it from one of them. According to each one, what are you going to do with the other 2 pesukim? So Gemara makes it a very v'hani tlata kera'eh bedam of lachem and lechaper and who lamali. What do I need it for? Look at Rashi. Tlata kera'eh ketivi lachem lechaper and who had lema'otemi notar. One is to teach you that dam doesn't become notar. That if you leave the dam over, there's no notar. V'chad lema'otemi me'ilah. One to teach you there's no me'ilah. V'chad lema'otemi tum'ah. And one is to teach you that there's no din of tum'ah by the dam. That if you eat the dam when you're tameh, there's no karet. No karet anyway for tum'ah. Maybe there's a karet for dam, but there's no karet for tum'ah. Right? Aval mi pigul lo tzarich lema'uteh. But pigul doesn't need a miut. It's not there, but we'll see it doesn't need a miut. Let's see Rashi. Had lema'uteh mi notar. Shemachal dam notar b'shogeg. If he ate dam after the time b'shogeg, eno hayav ela aha mishum dam. He only brings a korban for dam, not for notar. V'chein machal dam kodashim betumat haguf. He ate dam of kodashim when he was tameh. Shehi bekaret, that it's karet. Bekulan eno hayav ela aha mishum dam. He's only hayav for the dam. V'chein shagag v'dam v'ezid b'aha me'elu. It's possible more. He didn't realize it was dam, but he knew it was notar, or he knew he was tameh, and he was mezid on that. Patur mi karet, he won't get karet. Not for dam because he's shogeg in the dam, and not for notar because there is no notar by dam, and there's no din of tumat haguf. And it's also, we said, mima'it for me'ilah. Aval mi pigul lo tzarich lema'oteh Rashi. Shemachal dam mi korban pigul. Mi milta achriti nafkalan de patur. Mi karet de pigul. We learned that there's no pigul on the dam from a separate place. We don't need an extra ribui in this pasuk. What's that? Aval mi pigul lo tzarich lema'oteh. I don't need to be ma'ed from pigul. The amar the ma'oteh kera. The tanan kol sheyesh lo matirim. Anything that has something else that's matir, ben le'adam, ben le'mizbeach, whether the matir allows people to eat it, whether the matir allows the mizbeach to eat it, meaning allows it to be nekrav, chayavin ala mishum pigul. That's something that pigul applies to. So korban has a matir. What's the matir? Dam. When you sprinkle the dam on the mizbeach, the emurim go on the mizbeach, and the basar gets eaten by the kohanim or gets eaten by the baalim. So you have me'ilah, you have notar because it has a matir. The dam is matir for the mizbeach and for the person, but the dam itself is not a matir. The dam itself doesn't have a matir. It is the matir. The dam atzmo matiru. It doesn't have anything that's matir it, so therefore notar doesn't apply to it, based on that rule. Rashi. Ben la'adam ben la'mizbeach she'acherim matirim otam. Something else comes and allows it to be eaten. Kigon ben ol achilat adam kigon basar kodashim hane'echal. When you have basar kodashim that's edible, she'talui bizrikat adam. That becomes mutar after you sprinkle the blood. Shekol zman shelo nizrak asur b'achila. As long as the blood wasn't sprinkled, you're not allowed to eat it. Kidechtiv v'dam zevachecha yishafech, and then it says v'basar tochel, or matirim lemizbeach, or if you have something that's matir to the mizbeach, kigon emurim, the emurim, which go on the mizbeach, shezrikat adam machsharatan lemizbeach. It's the sprinkling of the blood that's machshir for the mizbeach. Kidechtiv v'zaraka kohen et adam al mizbach Hashem. And then it says, "Vehadar ve'ktira helev l'reach nichoach." So you see also that before you put the meat on the mizbeach, you have to sprinkle the blood. In those cases, chayavin ala mishum pigul. Since something else was matire, it could be pigul. Emachal mehem mikorban mefugal. If you ate meat or even emurim that you're not supposed to eat, but since it has a matir and you ate it when it was pigul, you'll be chayav karet. Dechtiv hanefesh ha'ochel mimena avonat tisah. Aval matir et achirim, something that doesn't get a heter. It's matir others. Kigon hadam, blood is matir to put these on the mizbeach. Ve'akomet, which is matir the mincha, en hayavin ala mishum pigul. The gamrina mishilamim, the pigul b'shilamim kiti. The main pasuk of pigul is by shilamim. B'shilamim yesh lahem matirim lemizbeach u'matirim ladam. Shilamim has both. The dam is matir to the mizbeach and matir people to eat it. Right? Shadam matir temurehem lemizbeach v'saram la'achila. Those are the things that if you eat it, you get pigul. Mash enken, the matir itself, there's no chiyuv pigul if you eat it for pigul. So 3 pisukim. One comes for notar. One comes for notar. One comes for tameh, and one comes for me'ilah. But I don't need a 4th pasuk for notar, because notar, for pigul, because pigul has to be something that has a matir. A dam itself is a matir.
Emurim are matir or
emurim are nitarim.
They are nitarim, even though that they're being matir the meat.
He said they're being matir the meat. You didn't see that anyway. Kol ma'aseh Yom Kippurim ma'amur ala seder. Everything that you have to on Yom Kippur is ala seder. Right? We gave you an order in the Mishnah. Emekdim ma'aseh la'haviro. You put anything out of order, lo asa klum. It doesn't count. Do it again. For example, hekdim dam ha'sa'ir le dam ha'par. If he brought the dam ha'sa'ir before the dam ha'par, yahazor v'yazeh mi dam ha'sa'ir. Your dam ha'sa'ir was no good because always it's par sa'ir, right? Do the sa'ir again after the par. V'ma'at shelo gamar et ha'matanot shebefnim nishpach adam. If before he finished doing the matanot befnim, the blood spilled, yavi dam acher, bring more blood. And how do you get more blood? Shecht another animal. No. has come out when it's
Ordered right away.
Yavi dam acher v'yachazor betchila mibefnim and start the matanot again inside. V'chem be'echal. If you had a problem in the echal, you got to start again from the echal. V'chem be'mizbeach hazahav. If it's built in the middle of mizbeach hazahav, you got to start again from mizbeach hazahav. Meaning, if you're up to sprinkle number 4, we don't say start from 4. Go back to 1. In every set, you go back to 1. Shekulan kapara befnei atzman. This is the kula. Each set is its own kapara.
You don't have to go back to the beginning.
So I don't have to go back to the beginning set. I just have to go back.
None of the nishpach adam have mita.
Nishpach adam? It's not, what is it saying in Torah? Lo tishpechu dam. I mean, it says lo tishpechu dam, but that's only our people. Right? Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon omrim, mimekom shepasak misham umatchil. Whatever number you are up to, that's where you start. Look at Rashi. האמורים על הסדר במשנתנו וכן בהיכל נתן מקצת מתנות על הפרוכה ונשפך אדם יביא פר אחר ויתחיל מתנות מהפרוכה ואין צריך לחזור ולהתחיל בכפורת. You don't have to go back and do it inside. שכולן כפרה בפני עצמן, since each set is its own כפרה, לפיכך כפרה שנגמרה נגמרה. Once I finish the set, it's finished. ממקום שפסק ואפילו לא נגמרה אותה כפרה. Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon say ממקום שפסק, even though you didn't finish the set, אין צריך לחזור וליתן מה שנתן. You don't have to redo it. You did 3, the 3 count. תן רבנן, כל מעשה יום הכיפורים אמור על הסדר, אם הקדים מעשה לחברו לא עשה כלום. אמר רבי יהודה, מתי, where is it? בדברים הנעשים בבגדי לבן. Only the stuff you do with the בגדי לבן, and only מבפנים. אבל דברים הנעשים בבגדי לבן מבחוץ. Even stuff that's done בבגדי לבן, if you do it outside, אם הקדים מעשה לחברו מה שעשה עשוי, it's okay. רבי נחמיה אומר, no, באמת דברים אמורים בדברים הנעשים בבגדי לבן, בין מבפנים מבחוץ, inside or outside. אבל בדברים הנעשים בבגדי זהב מבחוץ, stuff you do with the בגדי זהב outside, מה שעשה עשוי, what you did is done. Look in Rashi, מבפנים, it doesn't mean in the Hechal, it means in the Kodesh Kodashim, לפני ולפנים. בבגדי לבן מבחוץ, כגון הגרלה, the lottery, וידוי, שפיכת שיריים, pouring the שיריים out, וכל מתנות הפרוכת, anything you sprinkle on the parochet מזבח זהב, הם מקדים להם דבר מאוחר. If you went, let's say you did the מזבח before the parochet, or you did the sa'ir before the par, אין אלו מעכבין עליו. It's not מעכב לפוסלו. As long as you did it, it's good, or it doesn't make a difference. אבל, now, you would say shechita, which takes place outside, also should be that the seder doesn't make a difference. Aval shechita v'hafina, the slaughtering and the hafina, modehu, Rabbi Yehuda agrees the tzorich, why? Hare it's taking place outside. The tzorich penim kepnim dami. Stuff that you need for inside. Hare, why are you shechting the par? To bring the blood into the Kodesh Kodashim. Could you bring blood into the Kodesh Kodashim without shechting the par? No. So even though I'm doing it outside, it's like it's since it's for inside, it has the same rules. Same thing with the hafinat haketoret. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, v'shnehem ikra echad darshu. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Nehemiah, who argue whether only stuff that happens inside the seder is me'akev, or even the bigdei lavan outside the seder is me'akev. They're learning from the same pasuk. Why do we say it's me'akev? Hare by kadashim, in order for something to be me'akev, it has to say chukah. והייתה זאת לכם לחוקת עולם, אחת בשנה. רבי יהודה סבר מקום שמתכפרים בו פעם אחת בשנה. אחת בשנה. Yehuda says, you know where's a חוקה? Where you go, אחת בשנה, which is the Kodesh Kodeshim. Anything that's not in the place that's אחת בשנה, the חוקה is not going on. מקום שמתכפרים בו פעם אחת בשנה. Rashi, Rabbi Yehuda savar, amakom shekaparato habashana ketiv. It's only going on the place that you make kapara once a year. Aval ha'echal ve'azarot, the echal and the azarot, אפילו דברים הנעשים בבגדי לבן, שאין כפרתן וכהן גדול אלא אחת בשנה, even the Kohen Gadol only does it once a year, la ketiva hukah, because it's only the stuff that's in the place. ורבי נחמיה סבר, דברים המתכפרים בו פעם אחת בשנה. Whatever he does in the בגדי לבן is once a year items. All that is חוקה. רש"י, דברים המתכפרים בהם אחת בשנה, בין המקום בין הבגדים. Says the Gemara, Atu l'Rabbi Yehuda mekom ketiv. How does he understand Ahad b'shana is mekom shemetkaprim bo Ahad b'shana? Is there a hint in the pasuk that it's talking about a makom? So it can't be that's the reason. Ella, throw out that reason. Hainu ta'amaya de Rabbi Yehuda. What's Rabbi Yehuda's reason why only things that you do in the Bigdei Kahun and the Bigdei Lavan inside the Kodesh Kodashim are me'akev? Ketiv zot, v'chtiv ahad. It says zot, and it says ahad. V'ayta zot lachem lechukat olam, lechaper b'nei zukol ahadot, ahad b'shana. Each one is a mi'ut. So chukat tells me it's me'akev. Zot tells me it's not me'akev everything, and ahad tells me it's not me'akev everything. Right? Ketiv zot, uchtiv chukat. Chtiv ahad. Had lema'oteh b'gdei lavan mibachutz. One is to tell me, yeah, b'gdei lavan is me'akev, but not outside. V'chad lema'oteh b'gdei zahav. I don't say anything that you do b'gdei zahav is not me'akev. Rabbi Nehemiah, no, good question. I have two. What's it called? Baruch haba. We can't recognize you with the whole. He's ready to rob a bank like that. Nobody will know. Right? V'chad, Rabbi Nehemiah, what do you do with the two mi'utim? So he doesn't. Rabbi Nehemiah doesn't make them general mi'utim. Rabbi Nehemiah makes the mi'utim specific mi'utim. Had lema'oteh bigdei zahav. One is to be ma'at anything in the bigdei zahav. That's everyday stuff, not me'akev. V'had lema'uteh shirayim de lo me'akveh. Coming to be me'akev one thing. Here we said that when you come out of the kodesh, of the kodesh, you pour the rest over blood in the yisod of the mizbeach. He says that's not me'akev. Or the order is not me'akev. The pouring is me'akev. Yeah, the order is not me'akev. Look at Rashi. Ketiv zot. Mashma hukal zot ketiva. It's only written on one thing, v'lo ala heret. And it says ahad. The hukal is only written on one thing. Rabbi Yehuda says to be ma'ed bigdei zahav at all, and bigdei lavan b'chutz. Rabbi Nehemiah says one is to be married bigdei zahav, because even he agrees the regular day-to-day things, the shechit korban tamid, shel shachar, tamid shel ben arba'im ketoret is not me'akev the seder. And the other one is to be me'akev, not bigdei lavan b'chutz, but shirayim. Shefichat shirayim, pouring the shirayim into the yisod of the mizbeach, telo me'akveh davar ha'me'uchar lahem. It's not me'akev what comes later. Im ekdimo lahem. If he made it before. V'af al pi she'en na'asim be'bigdei lavan, even though you do that with the bigdei lavan, en sedran me'akev, the seder is not me'akev. Because he's mema'et from the fact that it says zot or ahat. So why doesn't Rabbi Yehuda learn like that? Rabbi Yehuda,
Wait, but in order to do another avodah, he had to change. So,
not all the avodot.
no, I'm saying if this says, and he had to do the.
He did this in Bigdei Lavan, the
and
shirayim.
he did something not in order. For the other stuff, he had to change. But
Not everything. Rabbi Yehuda, im me'akveh, me'akveh. If it's me'akev, it's me'akev. It could be he went and he took out the kaf and the machta before he did the shirayim. Rabbi Yehuda, im me'akveh, me'akveh. He says, v'ilo me'akveh, lo me'akveh. Rashi, Rabbi Yehuda, im me'akveh, she'ar dvarim ana'asim bebigdei lavan, mi b'chutz kesidran, me'akveh av shirayim kesidran. Says, if everything else is me'akev, why should shirayim not be me'akev? V'ilo me'akveh, she'ar dvarim ana'asim bebigdei lavan, Lo me'akve hani. Then shirayim won't be me'akev. De'inu nami avodah me'akevet kaparahi. Umay chazil le'ma'otez. Why are you picking on? You have hagrala. You have chafina. Not hagrala. You have hagrala. And vidui. And shfichat shirayim. Why are you only picking on shfichat shirayim? Where do you see that shfichat shirayim should be any less of an avodah than other things? So if it's ma'akev, it should be ma'akev. Oh, everything else ma'akev. This should be ma'akev. If not, no. But why pick on shfichat shirayim? Hilkach ichuka she'ara ketiva adidena miktiva. You want to take out shirayim? I say it's not only shirayim; it's anything that's like shirayim. What's by shirayim? That it's outside of the kodesh kodashim. So everything that's outside of kodesh kodashim is not matter. Kedetanya, like we learned, Rashi, the Rabbi Yehuda shirayim me'akve kapara. We see that Rabbi Yehuda holds that shirayim is me'akev the kapara. Kishar matanot, just like the matanot on the kiranot me'akev, or the matanot in front of the haychala me'akev, so too the shirayim. I'akar lehu legamre. If you didn't do them, so to this. Hilkach ichuka she'ara ketiva. If chuka, which is telling me that not only does the avodah me'akev, but also the orders me'akev is going outside, adidei nami ketiva. It makes sense to go on the shirayim. Kedetanya, like we have a braita. It's very interesting drasha. Right? It says in the pasuk, v'chila mikaperet hakodesh, ve'etol moed, ve'et hamizbeach, ve'ekriv et ha'se'ir ha'chai. The se'ir ha'chai, right? He had two se'irim. One was the se'ir Hashem, which he just did now. He did it alternating with the pot, right? To put the blood inside the kodesh kodashim, and inside the heichal, and on the mizbeach. Now we finish with that, and he brings the se'ir ha'chai. What's the se'ir ha'chai? That's the se'ir לעזאזל. והשעיר אשר עלה עליו הגורל לעזאזל יעמד חי לפני השם לכפר עליו ושלח אותו לזמנה והקריב את זה. Now bring the se'ir that's still alive, the se'ir החי. Right? Now l'chaora, the whole pasuk v'chila is extra. You told me that he finished and poured the shirayim into the yisod. What is v'chila? I know v'chila. He's finished. According to the pasuk, you did what you had to do. Here, pasuk is like v'izah alav min adam v'yatzal mizchaleshem v'chiper alav lakach midav apar u'midav masiv v'natan akanot hamizbeach saviv v'izah alav min adam b'shem panim v'tiaro v'kidesho mitumo b'nei Yisrael v'chila mekaper et hakodesh v'et'ol moed v'et hamizbeach v'ekriv et se'ir ha'chai. What's the chila teaching me? Every time you finish on the v'chila, you finish with that?
Something. Whatever you know. No.
כדתניא, v'chila mikaperet hakodesh, em kiper kala, ve'em lo kiper lo kala, divrei Rabbi Akiva. Look at Rashi.
What does that mean again?
He looks at the red string.
No, l'chaora, em kiper, if he did everything, he's finished. And if not, go back and do it again.
Before doing the same thing.
Divrei Rabbi Akiva. Amar lo Rabbi Yehuda. Meaning, im kiper kila, meaning the only thing that's me'akev l'chaor. Let's see. Amar lo Rabbi Yehuda, mipnei ma lo nomar, im kila kaper, ve'im lo kila lo kiper. So l'chara, we could be doresh the other way. We could be doresh im kila if he finished kiper. He was mechaper and he's done. Ve'im lo kila, if he didn't finish all the avodat, lo kiper. Shim hiser aha mikol hamatanot, if he missed one matana, lo asav lo klum. Now, are they arguing or not? Amrina and my benayu. What's the difference between kila kiper or kiper kila? Right? So how sounds the same. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi. Hadamar mashmaut dorshim ika benayu. The difference between them is the mashmaut. Whether you want to learn in kila kiper, kiper kila, same thing. Everything, you do everything.
What does it do first?
Do what it says in the parasha. This is just Hazaram before. Tell you Smakim. Rashi v'amrinan. Rashi mipnei malo nomar. It's an unusual lashon. Mi me'akev al yaden. Who's stopping us? Shelo nedrosh b'lashon zem kila kiper v'im lo kila lo kiper. What's the difference? Mashma'ot dorshim. More mashma lehachim. One hears the pasuk better like this with the drasha. One hears the drasha better. Right? V'chad amar shirayim me'ak ve'ika benayim. One says when the shirayim is me'akev is the difference. Right? Rabbi Akiva sava shirayim lo me'akve. V'achi kamar im kiper. If he made the kapara, which is the ikar matanot, that's called kapara la mizbeach kila, then he's finished. V'afilu lo shavach shirayim, even though he didn't pour the blood into the mizbeach, that's not called kaper.
He's testifying on something.
So it's not me'akev. Even imloch. And once you did the kaper, you sprinkled, you pour, good. Pouring into the mizbeach, you don't have to. If you didn't do it, you have to, but if you didn't do it, it's not me'akev. Rabbi Yehuda savar me'akve, v'achiyam kila kol. Kila is more than kaper. Kila means you finished even the things that I don't call a kapara, even the pouring into the mizbeach. As kiper, then the kapara is complete. Ve'im lo, kila kol. And a kapara shel matanot kapara. Then even the matanot that you put is not a matanot. Didn't make it kapara. So you see that Rabbi Yehuda holds kapara is me'akev. Yeah, shirayim is me'akev because that's what he's coming. According to one opinion, anyway, that's what he's coming to include. Says Gemara, Mi amar Rabbi Yochanan achi. Does Rabbi Yochanan say like that? Meaning Rabbi Yochanan told us that Rabbi Nehemiah is the one that says that the dirasha of ahat bashana that says that some things are not me'akev is going on the shirayim. And the shirayim, if you did it out of order, it's not me'akev. Umi amar Rabbi Yochanan achi amar Rabbi Yochanan tana Rabbi Nehemiah k'divrei omer shirayim me'akve kasha. Rabbi Yochanan says that Rabbi Nehemiah holds shirayim is me'akev.
It's very funny line that also said how to feel out there. It's very funny.
Yeah, but heck, no. I mean, it's not.
Rashi says, "Umi amar Rabbi Yochanan hachi del Rabbi Nehemiah shirayim lo me'akve tekamrin an le'el shneim ekra hadarshu chad le'ma'ote shirayim de lo me'akve me'akev that shirayim is not me'akev if you did it out of order." V'ha amar Rabbi Yochanan b'masechet zevachim in perek hashochet v'hama'aleh b'chutz Tana Rabbi Nehemiah k'divrei omer shirayim me'akve. Rabbi Nehemiah is agreeing with the opinion that the shirayim pouring on the mizbeach is me'akev. Ka'amar Rabbi Nehemiah hatam shireh hadam shekrivam b'chutz chayav. We said yesterday that if you have a korban olah, you come down from the mizbeach and you're pouring the dam. You come down, you pour the dam. The yisod tirumi, the yisod maravi, and one of the yisodot. This guy, he went outside and he poured it in front of his neighbor's house. Like the Halabiya do on Pesach. He heard it's a beracha. He brought it home. He poured it he poured it on the desk on his business. You know, he poured it on the business desk. He says, if it brings beracha in the Beit HaMikdash, imagine how much beracha it's going to bring over here, right? He just did a korban out of the Beit HaMikdash. Chayav karet, right? Chayav karet. So you see, look at Rashi. Alma avodah hem bifnim. So if you chayav outside, it's considered an avodah in the Beit HaMikdash, and if you did it outside, you chayav for being makriv b'chutz. So the Rabbi Yochanan understands you only chayav for something b'chutz if it's me'akev inside. If it's not me'akev inside, you're not chayav. Alma avodah hem bifnim. V'karinam behu ve'el petach ol moed lo yivienu v'nechrat, and he gets karet. Kasha. It's a question. I mean, I don't understand the question so much because maybe it's me'akev, but the order is not me'akev. The Gemara says like this. Rabbi Chanina, Amar Rabbi Chanina. Ketoret shehafana kodem shechitato shel par lo asav lo klum. So right, what was the order? Yeshech, you slaughter the par. Ve'ekriv Aharon et par hatat asher lo. Ve'chiper ba'ado v'ad beto. Ve'shahat et par hatat asher lo. Then it says, ולקח מלוא המחתה גחה לאש מעל המזבח מלפני השם ומלוא חופניו כתורת צמים דקה והביא מבית לפרוכת. So ולקח מלוא חופניו כתורת is written after the shechita of the par. Right? So you see that first you make the shechita of the par and then you do the hafinat ketoret. So he says, Rabbi Chanina says, if you did the ketoret before the shechita par lo asav lo klum, go back and make hafina again. Kiman de lo Rabbi Yehuda. Lechaora is against Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Yehuda ha'amar, doesn't he say? Ki ketiva hukah bedvarim anaasim bebegdei lavan mibifnim udichtiva. He says that it only says hukah, that you have to do it in order.
Once you do that,
In divrei, in bigdei, stuff that you're doing in the kodesh kodashim, and hafina you're doing in the lishchat bet avtinas. Afilu temer Rabbi Yehuda. Even if you want to say it's Rabbi Yehuda, tzorich pnim kepnim dami. The hafina of the ketoret is for the purpose of doing it inside. So it's me'akev. It's considered like you're doing it inside. What's the matter, Eli?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You couldn't, what do you call it? It's not possible to do it once.
That's Rashi said. The Gemara says it here. Tenan, we learned, Im ad shelo gamar matanot shebifnim. Nishpach adam, if the blood spilled before you finish the matanot inside, yavi dam aher, bring more blood, via hazor, via zeh betechila, and start whatever you're up to again. So if you're up to the 7 in the Kodesh Kodashim, right? You got up to 3, and then the Kohen Gadol, don't forget, he was up all night, and he's fasting, he dropped it, and he spilled blood in the Kodesh Kodashim.
Now we have a new opinion.
So when he goes back out, he has to shecht another par, bring the blood inside, and start from number 1 again.
No,
Right?
that's my question. I don't know where he got the extra blood from. He had to go out and check.
Of course, now the Gemara is going to prove it. So the Gemara says, Yavi dam aher v'yahazor v'yazeh betechila mibifnim. Go back bifnim and start again. V'em ita, if you're going to tell me that if you will hofen the ketoret before you shechted the par, the hafinata ketoret is no good. So now it comes out that the par that I didn't have any status. Why? Because I didn't even do one matana from it. Right?
You have to go back and do them all.
So when I go back out, I'm going to go back and start again from scratch, right? From haza'ah number 1, ahat lema'ala. I'm going to start from ahat lema'ala. What do I do with the part? Zilch. So I should have to go back and do the ketoret again too. Why? Because it comes out that the part that I shechted before I went into the ketoret wasn't a real part. So therefore, my hafinata ketoret was pasul.
Wow.
I didn't do anything to the sa'ir yet. I didn't do anything to the sa'ir. I shechted the sa'ir after the damapar. If you're telling me that a dam, that a hafina, that before the shechitat par is ma'akev, in this case, you just have to go make hafinat ketoret and start again. Rashi yavi dam aher v'yatchil v'arei kvar nektara ketoret v'zeh shochet par. Says Gemara bektoret lo kamayri. He's not discussing the ketoret. Rashi umiyuvadai tzarich laktir ketoret aheret ahar shechitat par zeh. Now I have a question. Let's say, I don't know how much, was there enough leftovers in the leftovers of the hafina that he can make hafina again? Or he had to go bunk into the regular stash of ketoret. And the regular stash of ketoret is not daka min daka.
I said last week, you said that there's more than, his handful is much more than...
Right, but let's say you had the ben chachinai guy, the big guy.
This side is
That's why. What's the size of the what do you call it? What's the size of the
Size of his hands.
the size of his hands? Yeah, but you have 3 manim.
I don't know how much 3 manim is. It's a good question. It's a weight. I don't know. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen.
Wait a very